How are we doing today, gentlemen? Thanks so much for joining me again here at Take Charge. Very much appreciated. I've talked a lot about self-prioritization and self-care, so I wanted to take a moment to go into that, just kind of explain what I mean by self-care. Self-prioritization is ultimately I guess you could say like the bigger category, right? Self-care falls under self-prioritization. In a nutshell, self-prioritization means exactly what it sounds like. You make sure that you yourself is the priority of your life. Nobody comes before yourself, okay? That being said, moving into self-care, what does that look like? I'm going to go into a few bullets and kind of break them down, at least based on what I see as the importance scale, if you will, starting with the most important and then kind of scrolling down, as it were, to not necessarily least important, but things that won't require as much prioritization. Let's go with that. All right, so when we talk about self-care, the first foremost thing I want to mention is sleep. Without any kind of healthy amount of sleep, the vast majority of everything else that you work towards, it's going to fall to shit. And when I say quality sleep, I mean uninterrupted. If you're having trouble getting anywhere between 6 to 8 hours, I think 7.5 might be the new gold standard. I don't know. There's so much research on sleep nowadays. It's hard to pin down an actual number amount. Let's just say 7.5. Split the difference, I guess. If you're not getting a good quality 7 to 7.5 hours of sleep a night, we really want to work on making sure that we can get that taken care of. I understand that here and there are going to be things that keep you up past your quote-unquote bedtime or things you need to get up early for. If possible, in those circumstances, it would be extremely beneficial to plan ahead for that and just try to go to bed at a sooner hour to make sure that you're getting the quality sleep that you need. I want to move now from sleep into activity or working out, okay? My personal preference when it comes to working out is strength training, heavy barbell lifting. When I talk about that, I'm talking about the basic compound lifts, the back squat, the overhead press, the deadlift, and bench press. Not a single muscle in the body isn't hit when you're using all four of those lifts. There's a shit ton of different programs out there that utilize exactly those lifts. All you have to do is Google or Brave search, whatever browser you're using, beginner strength routine, and you'll find, God, geez, so many out there. But that's not to say that's the only way to work out. There's also martial arts, there's running, blah, 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 blah. What I want you guys to look for are things that are going to be challenging, not just in getting them done as far as like showing up, but actually finishing the workout or accomplishing the workout. This drives testosterone levels exceptionally well. It helps with the appearance, the beach muscles, so to speak, but never really focus on the beach muscles, the looking good naked part. Getting the appropriate workout in, getting it done. The beach muscles, the looking good naked part, that comes along for the ride. Then moving on from working out, we've got proper nutrition. Proper nutrition, without getting into the shit that could get me sued, guys, it ultimately means making sure you're getting a good amount of water. Do some research on what a good amount of water for someone of your body weight is. And then making sure that you avoid processed foods. The vast majority of your food needs to be coming from sources with a small to no ingredient list. If you can't pronounce the ingredients on the list, you probably shouldn't be putting it in your body. Those are just my tips. And then making sure that regardless of however you choose to structure your feeding times, that you are actually feeding. This is something I struggle with on a consistent basis. I have a very hard time making sure that I get my meals in, which ultimately pisses me off, slows me down in the garage. I can't get my lifts the way I want to get my lifts, blah, blah, blah. So if you want to feed your workouts and you want to feed your day, make sure that you're feeding yourself. Yeah, that works. All right, moving on from my top three, which again, just to review, were sleep, activity, nutrition. Then we're going to move on to your purpose, choosing how you are going to feed your purpose, chase your purpose. Just a reminder, your purpose here on this earth as a man is to provide and protect for yourself. First and foremost, you are here to provide and protect yourself. And then down the line, should you want to include other people in your providing and protecting, that's entirely up to you. But you want to figure out what you're doing in order to fulfill your purpose. What kind of career or hustle are you pursuing in order to make sure that you are able to provide and protect. After your purpose, we have hanging out with friends. And when I say hanging out with friends, I want you to make sure that these are quality friends that are not going to hold you back, that are in fact going to lift you up to what you see as your aspirations. I mean, we've all heard the cliche, you're the sum of the 5 to 6 people you hang around the most. I happen to be a huge believer in that. So if you're surrounding yourself with lazy individuals or assholes or douchebags, more than likely you're just going to start emulating their behavior. So make sure you're getting rid of those kinds of people in your life, and you're working towards developing strong relationships, strong friendships with men that you look up to. After friends, we want to make sure that you guys are working on your outward appearance, your style, your fashion, whatever. Making sure that you feel good about the way you are presenting yourself to the outside world. Not necessarily for validation. I'm not talking about that. But unfortunately, in today's day and age, everybody is judged on their appearance. So if you're showing up out of shape, if you're showing up in sleeveless cut tees and cargo shorts, you're probably not going to be well received by those around you. If it's your off day and you're not really looking to impress anyone, then whatever you normally wear casually is totally fine. But if you're meeting new people, if you're putting yourselves in situations where you need to make an impression, you don't want to show up in that kind of shit. You want to make sure that you're putting your best foot forward and you're looking professional. There's so many different content providers out there that talk just about this topic, how men can present themselves fashionably, as it were. I highly recommend just doing a real quick search on the YouTubes or elsewhere to find the content providers that kind of help guys along with their fashion sense. After that, guys, we want to make sure that you are in fact getting your alone time, whatever that may look like to you. Maybe you get out of town for a weekend, maybe you set aside an hour a day for yourself, but we want to make sure that we have decompression time away where you can just process the information presented to you either in that day or from the day prior. As an example, maybe you set aside an hour in the morning so you can process what happened the day prior, or like I said, you set aside an entire weekend for you to get the fuck out and just reflect on the week's previous entanglements, as it were. Lastly, we want to make sure that you guys are getting some time, not just alone for informational processing, but for self-reflection or introspection. Figuring out ways where you can improve yourself. Where did you fuck up? What can you do better? And how can you grow? How can you improve? This whole self-improvement thing, this self-development thing, this is not one and done. This is not a journey with an end. This is lifelong pursuit, okay? We are always going to make mistakes. We're likely going to be falling back to previous behaviors only because they are so prominent in our subconscious or unconscious mind that it's almost impossible not to fall back to those behaviors, at least on occasion, the rare occasion. The further along you get in your development, obviously the fewer these reversions, maybe that's a good way to put it, will happen, but they're going to happen nonetheless. So make sure that you're using your time when you're alone to really think about where you need to improve, what you can do to improve yourself as a man. This can be done through a myriad of things. Hypnotherapy, obviously, is my number one choice, but there's also meditation, which is essentially self-hypnosis. There's journaling. There's speaking to a counselor, things like this to help figure out where you can improve yourself. If you guys have any questions, I'm more than willing to hear them. Make sure you hit me up, and I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks so much. Bye.